Welcome everyone to the 5 leadership rules to break in the new world of work. A brief overview for our time together. We want to set you up for success, explore leadership, think about diagnosing your team's health. There we go. Decide what to do next and wrap up. So just going through this quickly. So for our desired outcomes, we really want to explore how to show up as a leader that everyone wants to follow. Know what leader behaviors hold teams back from what's possible, and understand what it takes to create a team committed and accountable for shared success. So we also, this is what I meant by setting you up for success. There are some assumptions that I'm making about the audience, and I just wanted to surface these. So I am thinking that you are the type of person that wants to learn, teach, share, and be involved. And not all leaders are that way, but I'm hoping you are that way. That you have nothing to hide, that you are not going to use this information for the purposes of manipulating and controlling people, because you have a sincere belief in people and in fostering mutual respect and trust. So what is leadership? And this gets to the poll I put in the Whova app. Think of some famous or notorious leaders. Maybe you might think of Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey. If you go farther back, maybe Lee Iacocca, Margaret Thatcher. In the sports world, we have Peyton Manning, Billie Jean King, or it may be someone closer to home that you think of. What qualities do those leaders possess? So, and there's that question that I put in the poll. So when by the way, I can't see that right now, but there were some great answers in there. So when I think of behaviors of leaders I have followed, I think of humility, vulnerability. I think in the community poll, some folks said authenticity. You might also think about servant leadership, trust, conflict, commitment, those types of things. So some other questions to think about are, how aware are the leaders of their impact of their behaviors? Because sometimes we're doing things and we're not aware of how it's landing on the other side. So when you're thinking about being a leader yourself, you can reflect privately, how much are you living out the kinds of leadership values that you would follow in another person? And even a different question is to think about what leadership behaviors are holding you and others back. And here's a tough question. How much would you follow you? All right, so that's just a little warm up. I'd like to turn for a moment to diagnosing your team's health. So how healthy is your team? Now, these words here along the left-hand side, results, accountability, commitment, conflict, trust, these come from, and I'll be talking about it more as we go throughout, a framework from Patrick Lencioni called the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And so you might see some characteristics here of showing when these are not working so well. So for example, instead of getting great results, you're getting more of the same old, or you have silos happening. And you can see on down the line some different ways to think about diagnosing your team's health. All right, so those are some of the things we think about leaders, because when you have leaders who are aware of these types of issues, they can really work to influence them. All right, so I said that there would be 5 rules to break in the new world of work, and so I want to get into that. Rule number 1 is, I must show them who's the boss. Now, this might be an unconscious thing. It's like when we become a leader or we become a manager, supervisor, or a boss, that we feel like we have to show up in a certain way. And in my mind, that's like the bossy boss. Like, oh, I'll just show them what to do, or, I'm the one who gets to decide things around here. And actually, I want to release you of that. That is a rule that you can break. I would encourage you to be more personable. And in the pyramid from Patrick Lencioni, which is at the bottom of the slide there, the foundation of a healthy team is vulnerability-based trust. So when team members know that they can count on each other to have their back, they can be open and vulnerable about their fears, mistakes, and weaknesses. Whereas if you're being a bossy boss, maybe you don't want to admit that you have made a mistake or that you need to ask for help. So some ways to promote this vulnerability-based trust are to share personal histories and spend time together. All right, on to the next one. Rule number 2, we must not argue or disagree. We think that, it's important for everybody to get along, and so we should not rock the boat. And what we would suggest is that actually that comes from a place of fear. Like it's going to turn into an all-out brawl like you see in this picture. But actually there is, for me, when I heard this term, I thought it was an oxymoron, healthy conflict. I didn't think those two words belonged together. But what we're talking about is that like productive conversation or a healthy disagreement. And this allows people to speak up about their concerns, ask questions, see things in different ways. And when a team has strong trust, then they can do that and all come up with great solutions together. All right, the next rule. We must achieve consensus. And I would say that a lot of teams spend time spinning because they are trying to get consensus. And actually, you don't need consensus, you need commitment. And it is possible to commit to something, even if it's not the perfect plan, you don't love it 100%, or you're lacking some information. Now, if you're lacking too much information, then you need to object and have some healthy conflict about that. But you can commit to a plan and move forward with it anyway. And when I say use your thumbs, that's like, yes, I commit, but I don't feel totally in love with this plan, or no, I can't commit. So that's use your thumbs. All right, rule number 4. The leader is the one who holds people accountable. And again, I would like to challenge this notion because it really leads to, it can lead to triangulation. And what can often be helpful, more helpful, is to go directly to the people that you need to talk with, especially your peers. So as you can see from that pyramid, we're working our way up the pyramid, and now we're on the peer accountability level of the pyramid. Because the best teams are able to go directly to each other and help each other out, even when, even when there are concerns, they can bring those up. The last step in the pyramid is shared results. And so you want to measure what matters and share recognition and rewards. So just want to briefly go over this pyramid again. You can see the 5 levels there. Then also the actions that can help. So get to know each other there on the bottom. Surface disagreements so that you can come up with the best plan. Get commitment. Ask, how are you helping? And then measure what matters. So here comes rule number 5, and that is more is not always better. What do I mean by that? So many times in life, we believe that the more of something you put in, the better of an outcome that you're going to get. So we think it's like a straight line to a better result. But actually, it's not always that way. Think of your favorite dinner dish. If you add salt to a dish, you want to find just the right amount of salt. Too little salt is a very bland and boring dish. And too much salt is like, just throw it away because you can't eat that. And so it helps to think about this concept because sometimes in our leadership, we do we overdo a strength, and that doesn't mean not to do it. It just means to dial it back and find that sweet spot. Let's get into a little bit more interaction here. I'd like for you to think about in your leadership, you could create a little mini action plan here in the next few minutes that we have together. What do you want to continue, start, or stop? What could get in the way of success? And what can you do to succeed anyway? All right, so I am going to just share one more slide, one or two here. We are hoping that you will hone your leadership impact and get to that strong team with resiliency and become the leader that you would like to follow. So there is our contact information. It's also in Whova, and there's that. Thank you slide. So, all right, I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see what's happening in the chat, and love to hear any questions if folks want to unmute or throw a question in the chat. I just threw a lot of information at you. So what questions do you have?
It's great information, Erin. It's a lot to give out in 15 minutes, but you did a great job and very thought-provoking. When you maybe work with an organization, where do you see most teams start kind of get hung up as they're moving up the pillar? Is there like a certain place that's kind of common where they plateau?
Yeah, accountability. Yeah, I think it's very hard for me and others as well to hold people accountable. In fact, I was just with a group yesterday, and I was like, yeah, so sometimes I get the heebie-jeebies thinking about accountability. So, and yeah, I think statistically that's true. That Patrick Lencioni has a team health assessment that we offer for our clients, and that is where, like, statistically in his assessment, that's where teams get hung up, is on accountability.
And is that something you can help them move past? I mean, I assume there's like a way to help them get unstuck.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So we there are some communication tools that can help with that, and also exercises that the whole team can do together to strengthen, like to learn how to appropriately hold someone accountable and find that sweet spot where you're, not too aggressive and also not too wimpy. Because I think that's hard, right? Like, we all want to be nice people, and it's hard for us to hold people accountable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just saw something pop into the chat. So Gerardo says, what are your thoughts on team-based leadership, dynamic assignment of leadership in a team based on the expertise and project? I mean, when I see dynamic, what that means to me is that maybe certain projects require certain kinds of expertise, but then other projects require different expertise. Oh, sorry about that, Gerardo. That's a bummer. And so, yes, I would say, you want to put people where their strengths are and where they can best contribute, and that may not look the same on every project. And so hopefully there's a culture at your organization where people can be adaptable like that, and they aren't territorial or very kind of stuck in, this is my lane and you stay in your lane. Because it's really great when we can work across and help each other out and, contribute best, at the best level for the whole organization. I hope that helps.
And with that, we have time. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Gerardo. Great.
Thank you, Erin. That was great.